For everybody watching, just bear with us right now. I hear you. And can you mute your computer or mute what's it called? Mute Discord because I'm hearing myself back. Or put AirPods on.
Better now. We are live on.
Do you want to restart this?
Well, yeah, we're good. Well, I mean, we're live on YouTube. This is first time live on YouTube. First time live on Facebook right now. And I think, let me ask the chat in Discord.
They can hear you. Because I heard it earlier.
Hear everything.
So everybody, this is the first time for doing something like this. This is going to be a fun new thing to practice from now on.
Yeah, we are.
And I'll keep my eyes on the chat for any questions that comes in. Cool. Okay, Connor, are we ready to rock and roll? Go ahead and restart the recording and we can get started.
Let me see. Make sure. It's telling me to complete post details. I guess I have to do some other thing for Facebook. Go live.
For everybody just listening in the background, we'll get started here in just a moment.
Copy. Live stream. Sweet this. Just finishing up getting Facebook, and then we'll be good to go.
Misspelled podcast, by the way. That's funny.
On what? YouTube?
On YouTube.
Oh, I can fix that. There we go. Cool. I think we're good. The only thing I'm having trouble with right now is Facebook.
You ready?
Let me see. It's not pulling up the video.
One more.
Facebook.
It's fine for now. If we don't go live on Facebook, it's whatever.
Cool. I'll figure out Facebook once we're done.
You can tag me in the future on it.
Yeah, and we're good to go then.
Go ahead and restart the recording.
Okay.
We've gotten all the way to episode number 10. And we're moving in a really cool direction. I want to hit one more time the entire purpose of this podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to walk you through how to build a meaningful and fulfilling career from scratch where you have the ability to earn six figures over the next 3 to 5 years. You're going to hear a lot of transparency. Here at DevSlips, one of the things I always emphasize is to make the transition from being somebody not a software engineer to getting that software engineer job typically takes 24 months. So today we're going to talk about something I'm calling the 4 O's. I have a video that I'm going to share with us to go through a little bit more to kind of start us off. And we're going to be emphasizing a little bit more today the idea of mastery and the role that it plays for everybody's success. And if I pause every now and then to glance out the window, it's because I have my dog here kind of going a little nuts. So just bear with me here. But I'm going to start us off with a quick video walking through this idea of what I'm calling the 4 O's. And this is something I got from my mentor, Patrick McDavid. So I'm going to click play here and we can get an idea of it.
Listen, some of you guys that are scared, I understand when I really read into it and I say, why is there a bit of a fear there? Oh, they're bigger. Okay. And, oh, they could say some stuff that could really hurt me because of my past numbers. I don't care. Oh, you know, they have manpower. They're bigger than us. So what? Oh, you don't understand, but they know stuff that if it comes out, and what if they find out about my personal, my business, and what if they find, I don't care. Titanic was built by professionals, man. The Ark was built by amateurs. I like being an amateur. I like being naive. I like having a little bit of that with me. I like having a little bit of that with my black eye and my scars and all, you know, all these marks all over our body. I freaking like that. I like the scar on your face. I like the scar in our belly. I like the scar in the back. I like those marks. I love those stitches on our shoulders. Man, it gets me emotional. I think about it. My voice is cracking right now. Man, I think about these stuff. Because I know what we've done. It puts the fire in my belly like you have no idea. That's what gets me going. And we need some of you guys to really bring that side of you out. You haven't even met that side of it. Once that fire got in my belly, guys, there were not a lot of things I was afraid of. Because I figured out the formula. I'm going to work, I'm going to improve, and I'm going to outlast you. And I'm going to think bigger than you. When I'm saying you being the competitors. Once I figured that part out and I realized that none of us are put on this planet to be average and ordinary, and none of us are put here to just go out there and make millions, live in big houses, nice cars, travel the world, get the accolades, and then we die. No. There's much bigger cause than that.
So what I absolutely love about this is this idea of the 4 O's. The 4 O's are you have to outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, and outlast everybody else. When you're going through this process, you're trying to build a career from scratch, you're doing all these things, you have to understand the world is your fucking enemy. You need to be prepared to show up every single day, absolutely grind, and to be able to understand that this is not a short-term journey. That idea of outlast, every person and their dog who wants to get into software engineering quits within the first 3 to 6 months because they go into tutorial hell. They go into tutorial hell. They start buying all the different things. They learn this language. They go to that language. And it's just all over the place, and they end up quitting and failing. The biggest aspect, and this is the reason why I'm going through this today, we just brought somebody new onto the staff. They're going to be introduced to our entire community tomorrow. And she worked at a handful of boot camps before us. And one of the things that made me really want to bring her on board, because I've been vetting her for months now, months by months. And one of the things that really made her stand out to me was, she was like, the process to getting a career in software engineering, or let alone anything else, if you think applying is going to be enough, you're wrong. That is not what's going to work. To make the jump and to get what you want, you must be willing to go in. You must be willing to, oh, by the way, I figured out how to turn reactions off so my camera won't have this issue.
Did.
I know. You must be willing to put in the behind-the-scenes effort. You must be willing to reach out to people who work at that company you want to work at, who got jobs as software engineers, who didn't have coding backgrounds, who didn't have all of these things, and find a way to engage them in conversation. Say,
It's
hey,
take more than just applying. Yeah.
Exactly. You have to learn how to outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, and outlast people. This is the reason why we had the hackathon, right? You have to know what your story is when you sit down across the table from the interview or across from the Zoom call and you start chatting with them. Hey, Connor, tell me this. What's your biggest strength? Why should we hire you? Yeah, I will say, no, I can't say it. But that's one of the biggest caveats here, right? And the truth of the matter is almost everybody, they fall into what we've been talking about for the past 3 to 4 episodes. I'm even going to go straight to Reddit. And the reason why I'm opening up Reddit almost every single episode, and we're looking at the negativity here.
The pothole.
Yeah, the reason why I'm doing that is understanding. It is so easy to fall into that attitude that you don't have a chance to make it because the world's against you.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just going to pull over here. Let's just grab some random post here from Reddit. We're going to grab right here, coding boot camp. So we're going to jump straight in. Have any of you ever quit the idea of becoming a developer after your boot camp? I did a boot camp in Europe with a well-known name and finished in September last year. Before that, I worked in sales and hated it. Knew the risks involved with the boot camp, and so it wasn't a shock that I'd be unemployed for a while after. You idiot. Like, first and foremost, like, this is the funny part. Everybody joins a boot camp, and they think that, outcome's guaranteed. I don't need to do anything else, right? Yeah. I joined DevSlips. I'm guaranteed to get this. No. Like, we're working with whatever you bring to the table. If you are not willing to wake up, get your ass in your seat, put your hands on the keyboard, no one's going to help you. This is the honest truth that no one's telling you. There's not a 90% chance of success. There's not a 70% chance of success. It's either 0 or 100, dependent on your willingness to sit down and actually get after it. And this is the problem. I love it, right? I love it. If I'm one of you guys, right, and I wish there's a way for me to look at kind of questions coming in. And Connor, maybe you could look at YouTube or anywhere else along those lines to see if there's questions coming in. If I'm one of y'all, I would come to Reddit regularly to look for this kind of bullshit because these kind of people scare everybody off from doing this, right? However, it's now approaching almost 8 full months post boot camp, and I find myself still unemployed. To cut a long story short, I've had 5 interviews, and 3 of them being referrals from our boot camp Slack channel, and 2 being cold applications. Despite my enjoyment in this area and the hard work I've put in, which I'm willing to bet is none if I pulled up his GitHub profile, it appears that for one reason or another, I just don't seem to be meeting the requirements for junior developer roles, and this is fine if so. This is my observation after going through many tests and home tests. I'm also bamboozled by how many interviews and feedback is getting dealt with in this programming area. Let's say as compared to my previous experience interviewing in sales. I have at-home tests, yeah. If my code is all flawed, it's weird. I don't understand it. Here's the reality. Everybody, after they finish a boot camp or even, for God's sakes, get halfway through, do you want to know what they immediately start doing, Connor? They start applying to jobs. They stop focusing on mastery, and they start applying to jobs. I'm getting close to it. I might have to go back to my previous career of call center hell. Like, this is the thing, right? Everybody thinks. I'm actually going to come over this video that I found from Robert Greene that I love. Everybody thinks that this is a process of you show up for a brief period of time, and you show up for a very brief period of time. Let me turn off screen share real fast to find this video. This is not going to be a short time period. This is something you have to be willing to commit a long period of time to actually make the jump, right? So I'm going to share this video real quickly. This is a great video from Robert Greene, who inspired this entire podcast talking about this, right? A lot of you start down the process, you go through a boot camp, you go through a course, and then you're like, okay, I'm good. I'm going to start applying for jobs now, and you stop learning. Mastery is the process of understanding that there's a never-ending, there's no end in sight. There's no end to the path to mastery. It's only continually improving. So I love what he had to say about this.
A little worried that people who were reading my books, particularly young men, reading Power and Seduction, they were thinking, that's all I need in life, man. I just need to be a manipulator. I just need to play political games. That's what success is all about. And I was worried that if you don't understand how to make something, what's going to be the future of mankind? Are bridges just going to fall down? Are hotels going to collapse? We don't know how to make things anymore. We don't know how to use our hands anymore. Being able to be good with people is extremely important as a social animal. But perhaps higher up in the hierarchy is being able to do things, to be able to have great skill, and to be able to create something and know how to master a subject and to, build something that can last. That's really important. And I'm feeling like because young people have this idea that everything comes quick and easy because you can click and things come to you, that everything in life should be that way, that we're becoming alienated from the human brain, how the human brain operates, because the human brain requires time. I was getting a little worried that people...
This is the core aspect of everybody watching this right now. And there's a level of intensity that comes with me when I say this. There's no option out there unless you have the patience to sit down, outwork people, out-improve them, out-strategize them, outlast them. If you think going to a fucking boot camp is just going to be your end-all be-all because they said you had an 80% success rate, you're crazy. It's not going to happen. In the same way that no investor in the world guarantees you returns, in the same way that no reputable lawyer is going to guarantee you an outcome. You have to take ownership for yourself and understand nobody is going to take that ownership for your actions or your results whatsoever. As my dog is going nuts. Rocco, come here. Come here.
Don't bark.
Don't bark. Come here, buddy. Everybody come say hi to Rocco real fast. So the big thing that I really want to hit home here, when you look at the vast majority of people living check to check, when you look at most people low income, any of these areas who are trying to make the career transitions, I get it. You need the immediate solution. You do.
For sure.
But it doesn't change the fact that that's not how reality works.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go back to that shitty call center. And then you're going to finish, like you went to that boot camp, you come to dev slips, you go wherever you go, you dedicate that 6 to 24 months learning, and then guess what? You don't stop. If you stop, that means that you were never going to make this in the first place. You have to be willing to do this regardless of the time that it takes. For some of you, most of you, it should be 16 to 24 months. Some of you, it might take 3 to 4 years. Is it worth dedicating 3 to 4 years of your life to be able to get a career where you could earn $75,000 starting. Yeah, it is, right? Or do you want to continue what you're doing, go back to that call center that you hate, right? Playing the same old video games. You can only beat Elden Ring so many times, right? You can only beat it so many times. Like, yeah, Grand Theft Auto is going to be cool when it comes out. There's a lot of this cool stuff that's going to come out. But at some point, you know, you got to realize seeing roaches in the corner of your room is no longer fun. I want a better life for myself. I want to be able to get something better than a box spring mattress. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You have to be willing to set a plan and hold yourself accountable to that plan. Otherwise, it's not going to happen, which we've talked about from the first episode. Do you have intention with how you're acting on a daily basis? Do you have direction of where you're going? And are you spending time practicing and preparing? Do you have a useless creature that just won't leave you alone 24/7? I don't know if people can see this in the vertical format, but that's what I really wanted to cover today. 4 O's and the patience that's required, because nobody's talking about that. You know, the individual that we just brought on board, one of the things that she talked about was, you know, I talked about a big master plan. I have this master plan sheet. You know, it has all right, that's enough. Go lay down. I love you, buddy, but go lay down. It has 8 things on it that I want to do over the next 5 to 10 years. One of those things is to achieve an incredibly high. Okay, give me 1 second, dude. What are you playing with? Okay, it's fine. It looks like a ball's being played with. Okay, it's to achieve a specific placement rate for all graduates. And I was speaking with her, and she was like, "What happens when you achieve that placement rate?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Are you going to use that in marketing?" I said, "No, I never will. I'm never going to advertise. We have, let's say it was a 99% success rate. Let's just say it was something ridiculous. I would never advertise that. Because when that happens, you assume the outcome is made just because you signed up, right? Just because I signed up for an Ironman or a marathon doesn't mean I'm going to do that shit. Like, there's no, like, I can assure you, like,
Just because I sign up for a jiu-jitsu competition doesn't mean I'm going to win the gold.
Absolutely. Well, I'll give you kind of a fun update just personally. So the past 3 days I've been running. I've been running about a mile to a mile and a third every day. And it's been so terrible. It's been so bad. And I'm using it as a little bit of kind of a gut test to toughen up a little bit, improve myself for jiu-jitsu. Plus, it's hard for me to lift weights right now. And if, by the way, for everybody watching, there's a reason we have collared shirts on. We're setting an expectation. You know, how you present yourself is typically the power, or it shows the level of career you want. So we're going to be setting that standard from now on with the podcast.
I was wearing a box baggy t-shirt last time.
The reality is the vast majority of people, when you work from home, you can wear those things. But when you're starting off in the process, you want to present yourself a little bit better. But this process of challenging myself, physically, mentally, everything across the board, it's a requirement. If you can't first master yourself, you're not going to be able to master or even handle the environment around you, right? Self-mastery is the key to everything before we can move any further. In fact, I think looking up some videos on this is just so helpful, because most people just never factor in the importance.
It's like always chasing the silver bullet. You know what I mean? Like, they want that golden ticket. Like, oh, if I just sign up for this course, I'm going to become a programmer. It's like, you know, it doesn't work that way.
Well, yeah, it's like we got this one right here. I love this right here. And Robert Greene is just somebody who's been such a massive impact on my life that I'll share this over here.
What I'm forgetting here is power over yourself, self-mastery, right? Because a lot of the problems that you have in life, you can't really control yourself. You're subject to all these emotions, these moods, these things that grab you, that obsess you, that possess you. Your mind has these recurrent thoughts. You have no self-control, and it drives you crazy. You have a habit you want to get rid of. You take some program, some class, and 3 months later, you're back at it. You know, what is it? So the sense that you can control yourself to a degree, and the sense that you can have some influence over people, is power. And the more you have it, the greater the feeling you have, because you can avoid that helplessness that makes all of us kind of crazy. Probably the most important aspect.
That is so crucial just for everybody listening, right? If you cannot learn how to control those emotions yourself, if you cannot learn to do any of these things, you're not going to have a chance.
Right.
I can go on forever and ever. We're going to watch this one last
But-
video on this.
Fulfillment comes from something much longer. So when you reach a point where you're 30 years old, you've been serious, you've learned all these skills.
Where is that terrible music coming from? Are you telling me that they
It's
chose
coming
to put
from the video.
I was
That
getting
is
a little-
in the video.
I was getting a little worried.
they chose to put no, I'm not going to that was horrible. Who puts like
It's like elevator.
okay, we're going to go back to this one instead of a rest music.
Rest, thinking that you have attained the level you desire. A part of your mind enters a phase of decay. The moment that you
Okay,
rest,
so apparently we got some bro stuff just popping up here. That's kind of irrelevant.
I will say, and somebody in YouTube in the chat said, I found alarms and a well-organized schedule is key for me to being able to stay on track. And that's the mentality to have, right? Like, how can you, have the skills for yourself to then apply outward, when it comes to like learning to code, when it comes to learning any new skill.
Yeah, it's things like this, right? I gave up. I worked 50 hours a week in a tech company doing non-tech things.
I'm not seeing any screen share if you're showing.
Oh yeah, let me adjust this real fast for you. Here. It's this idea that we think that this is something that will come to us immediately with time, right? Can you see this well?
Yeah.
I gave up. I worked 50 hours a week in a tech company doing non-tech things, and it's a dead end. Too exhausted to code when I have free time. I'm too exhausted to code when I have free time. That's why you're gonna lose. Game over. Clausby, baby, you're fucked. Like if you're not gonna find a way to make it work in your free time, no employer is gonna find a way to make a risk and a bet on you.
Yeah.
People are willing to take bets on you because you're willing to do whatever it takes. Keep in mind there are non-junior developers who are also applying to these roles at multiple companies. If I was losing a passion for my bootcamp, which I personally did, I would approach things differently. Post-web bootcamp, I finished my first year as a product specialist for my starting salary of 63. I got a paid month about 7 to 8 months into 76. Senior product role. So this person went to product, which is pretty awesome. I'm still in an unemployed situation. I'm graduating from bootcamp. I have not been particularly aggressive about applying due to some major life changes, but do feel like I'm a bit behind the curve balls these days. These are the reasons why no one will ever want to take a bet on you. And I get it. This is where people start saying yap, like this guy's Sir Yap a lot, right? He's just a yapper, or this guy's just he doesn't know what he's talking about, or how entitled. Nature doesn't care. The world doesn't care about you, Connor. The world doesn't care about me. If I died today, my children would lose a father, and the world would move on, and no one would fucking care. There'd be
Sun
RIPs
will not
for a good
stop
3 days, and then it's game over. Like, that's it. Like, the world just
Wake
continues
up,
on.
sun still goes up. It just is.
Yeah,
It's not like your end of the world is not the end of the world. You know what I mean?
It's things like this. Like, we've had some major life changes. Here's the thing, right? Your life changes should not impact you for that long, right? You get a week. Right? What life changes impact you so much that you're no longer applying or focusing on your skill? If you go through a boot camp, you apply to a bunch of jobs, they say no, and so you just stop. Why would somebody ever want to hire you? The moment you finish the boot camp is not when you stop the skill. You still focus on developing the skill, right? You need to become employable. Go out and get freelance work. Put yourself around some mentors who can show you how everything actually works. The imposter syndrome, that doesn't go away. Peter, our CTO, is one of the most sophisticated software engineers out there, and even here he faces it on a regular basis. Every single project he takes on, he's like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do this, but I'll figure it out. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I'll figure it out. I've been looking at dev adjacent roles, and the moment you take your focus off of what you're trying to do, again, this is the first step. So the first thing is the imposter syndrome now prevents you from doing things, right? It prevents you from focusing on your skills, and you start applying to jobs. Actually, the first step is you start applying to jobs, and you don't get results. Then you get imposter syndrome and you stop focusing on developing your skills. The third thing is you then start looking at dev adjacent roles and you start trying to give yourself a way out. And it's just vicious cycle of just constantly losing
Yeah.
and failing. And you're not going to be able to get there. Like my brother would finish Hack Reactor Remote in 2016. After a few years, he stopped posting the Alumni Slack channel. He's not worked a job since 2015.
Works an IT job. He's currently unemployed. He doesn't have a degree. It's just a negative.
Exactly. Well, you don't hear anything
sausage fest in
positive.
there, man.
Negative sausage fest. Well, the reality is, the people who are winning are not spending their day. Like, here's the reality. The people that are winning will come on here every now. You gotta chill, brother. They will come on here every now and then to try to give advice to people. Then guess what? Those people become vicious. They blame the world. Nothing's their fault. Everything's the world's fault. I'm not winning because the world doesn't want me to win. I'm not winning because of my gender, race, whatever. And guess what? Yeah, I'm a straight white male. Life's a lot easier for me. Everybody's aware of that. Like, we're aware of these aspects. I'm aware of the fact that black men in America in the coding and tech market make up less than like 2 to 5% of it, right? Women make up an incredibly small amount of it. You will have these areas that go against you. That's completely
It's just
right.
life. But this is just life. You know what I mean? There's nothing you can do about these things.
Well, it's now what?
Exactly.
Now what? Are we going to sit here and try to force a change in legislation, or are you going to try to get better to where they can't refuse you? Right? This is just the difference. If you think that you're going to be able to casually make this transition, you're wrong. You got me fucked up. It's just not going to happen. You cannot casually make any meaningful change in life. The only way you can make a meaningful change in your career, your physique, anything, is by making a transformational process where you dedicate intense and serious time with intention, with direction, and with preparation and practice. That's how you do it. That's the only way. There's no other option.
And it's easy too, right? It's easy too when you see everybody else, following this same mentality of like these bad things that are, that we use as excuses. When everyone else is doing that, it's easy to fall into that and to feel like you're heard and understood, but you have to be the golden egg. You know what I mean? You have to step out of that.
Went to a job, didn't get a developer job, switched to IT. This is a beautiful way to put it. Just because you could solve it does not mean it's good. The bar is definitely higher now than it was before. I either get better or choose something else. I'm sorry. Thank you, Duck 1239.
Yeah.
Right? If you suck, no one wants to invest in you unless you got a personality to go with it. And most of us don't have that. And then I think these comments are fair, and I don't take it badly. You're probably right. No, he is right. You suck at your job. I'm sorry. I clearly don't do the test to the standard of others, which also I can't wait for the big but, right? Which is also backs up my theory that I don't seem to be able to meet the requirements at present. But it's frustrating that any junior entry-level position that they cannot give the opportunity to explain myself in an interview or to consider that I'm a beginner, etc. It's like already an expert beginner.
The bar's only going to get higher,
100%.
It's like if you think this is bad now, just wait. You know what I mean? Especially with, AI and things like that, how they evolve, and the tech world, the tech landscape is going to evolve. So the bar's only going to get higher for what it takes, to go out and get jobs and things like that.
It will continue to rise. The bar will continue to get more complicated. Life will continue to get more complicated. And your expectation to improve is only going to get higher. For example, the market's not oversaturated with juniors. It's oversaturated with shitty developers. They're not even juniors. They're just people who...
Yeah.
It's, you know what it is? This is the equivalence, right? This is the equivalence of how people act, right? What they're doing is they're going to YouTube and they're typing in how to become a coder. They're going to YouTube. They're typing in some dumb shit like how to become a coder. They're watching one video, right? Course to become a coder. They're taking one stupid long course. They're taking Pirate King's video, right? They're going to come down here and buy his boot camp and see if you qualify for a job. They're going to buy whatever this nonsense is, right? And then they're going to think they're ready. And Pirate King is not going to make you ready. He's going to help you become familiar with coding, and that is it. That's it. That's it. Most people are familiar and they have an understanding of what syntax is. That's literally, there's nothing else. You became familiar with syntax. You didn't actually have to do anything hard.
Exactly.
So I know today seemed really like a hard bitch fest in a sense, but what I really have to emphasize here is if you want to make this transition, if you are not willing to outwork people, if you're not willing to out-improve and out-learn, if you're not willing to out-strategize, right, out-create, and if you're not willing to outlast people, if you're willing to continue to learn and develop yourself over about 4 to 5 years, right, they tell most people it's kind of like athletes. If you don't get from when you first start playing sports to senior year in high school, if you don't get any college offers, then call it. You're not a good athlete. Like you're not going to be able to make it any further. And that's the route that most people will follow. They'll do this for a very long time, but that's it. But man, that's what I wanted to really hit home for y'all. Understand it is a process, and the 4 O's are they make up the story. They create the compelling story about you as an individual that get people willing to make the risk of hiring you. Because it's terrible having to train individuals. It's not fun. It's horrible, to be honest, right? So are they going to be, when they hire a junior dev, they're hiring that junior dev under the expectation someone's going to be stuck with having to train that individual. Are you somebody worthy of being trained? Are you somebody that's proved that they are trainable? Are you somebody that's proved that you have grit? If that's not the case, if you don't have clear storylines to prove that you have that grit, to prove that you are tough, to prove that you can do this, you're not going to be able to make the transition. So we're going to wrap up today with that. Do not forget to subscribe to this. We're going to have more stuff coming on. Our director of career services and partnerships is going to be coming on here soon to do a podcast episode with us.
Awesome.
Peter will be on this week as well. I'm probably going to have a close friend of mine named Ethan come on to talk a little bit more about soft skills and communications. That's going to be a wrap for today. Everybody just hang in there. Understand this is the long-term process. If you have any questions directly for me, reach out to me on IG, Nathan Sevedge. Don't forget to subscribe. This episode will be uploaded, edited, all those things on my personal IG or on my personal YouTube channel. Go follow that, just Nathan Sevedge. Thank you all so much. We'll talk to you here soon.
See you guys.